Hey everybody, Omar here, the Knife Shark Guy, and I am back with another fun-filled video for you. And today, we're going to do a discussion on customer service. The two knives you see in front of you, if they look familiar to you, they should, because I did do videos on both of these knives about 6 months ago. And I got both these knives at the Blade Gallery. And I kind of like sheepishly and quickly did the video because I didn't want you guys to see how imperfect the knives were at the time. But, you know, I wanted to do the video anyway, and I wanted to show you guys the knives that I got. But to make a long story short, I just wanted to show you that both these knives, there was something wrong with them when I got it. This knife, unfortunately, was off-centered way the hell over that way in that direction. And the action was so-so. But now, as you guys can see, the action is absolutely incredible. And this knife here had severe blade play on it. I tried fixing it myself. I tried tightening the bolsters or the pivot on this piece. It didn't do any good. They still had blade play. Which brings the question of this video: what do you do when something like that happens to your knife? You buy a knife from the knife maker, or even the Blade Gallery in this case. That's not perfect. You didn't, sight unseen, you bought the knife. And these knives are incredibly expensive. I mean, this one was, I believe this knife was like $8.95, and this one was like $6.95. So these are both incredibly expensive knives, and to get them in that condition, you're a customer, obviously it's going to be disappointing. So that kind of begs the question, does customer service exist in custom knives? I cannot speak for Russian knives. I can't speak for American knives. I can't speak for Japanese knives or any of the other cultures out there that make custom knives. I can only speak of South African knives. I can tell you from my own experience that South African customs are not perfect. I need to make that clear. They're not perfect. However, no matter what knife maker I'm dealing with in South Africa, if you tell them there's something wrong with your knife and you just purchased it, they are really, really depressed. I mean, they can't believe that they had a knife out there for a customer to buy and it wasn't in perfect condition. And so to remedy that, basically I found that all I had to do was contact the knife maker on Instagram, and they will service your knife. No problem. The customer service is excellent. Is there a downfall to it? There is. You have to wait a while before you get your knife. I waited roughly, 90 days for both these knives, sometimes 4 months, sometimes even 5 months. I can honestly tell you whether it's going to be 6 months, even a year, it's worth it. Send it back to the knife maker. Give them a chance to redeem themselves in your eyes, and they will do the very best for you. Because the last thing that any South African knife maker wants to have is to have their good name associated with not so great of a product. And South Africans have so much pride in what they do that they just cannot afford to have any customer be unhappy with the product that they have gotten from them. South Africa is a place where knife making is their livelihood. You have to kind of keep in mind, while South Africa is, not exactly a super poor country, but they do have a completely different socioeconomic background than the United States. And they're not, I can't say that they are surviving out there. They are doing more than surviving out there, but they don't have a lot of the advantages that the United States have, that this country has. So you can understand why these knife makers have so much pride in their work. This is their livelihood. They put their life on the line when they make a knife and send it to the United States for an American buyer to purchase. So it's very, very important that their products are top-notch, because that's really the only thing that they can control. So the customer service side, how does it work? From my own experience, you need to build a relationship with the knife maker. Just chat with them every once in a while. You don't even have to talk about knives, because they can tell that you know, when you talk with them, that you are a genuine customer that is just generally in love with their work, and they really do appreciate it. You just have to have you know, an open mind, and try and keep yourself in the good with these guys. And if you do that, yeah, it's going to be worth it, because they will service your knife. Before I continue, this knife, again, both these knives are from JD Van Deventer. Okay, real quick, just so you guys know what you're looking at here. This knife here is called the Palladium Flipper, and it is made with fluted carbon fiber. We got a nice black titanium pocket clip on this thing. It's got beautiful blue titanium liners. What really makes this knife gorgeous is the fluted carbon fiber all throughout the knife. I thought it was a really beautiful choice. We have a carbon fiber backspacer as well, so the entire knife is all carbon fiber and titanium. This one is also made by JD Van Deventer. This one has orange and black G10 scales. We've got titanium liners and a forged backspacer, titanium, as well as the pocket clip with the same design on it. Really just a beautiful, beautiful knife. And that's really what makes South African custom knives stand out. Because G10 isn't like the top material, but it is a really good material. And it's what the knife maker does with the material that makes it an art. And I mean, you look at that beautiful pocket clip on that. It's just absolutely gorgeous. The action on this one, can't beat that, can you? It's not even on ceramic ball bearings, it's regular ball bearings. He's a master. JD Van Deventer is a master at that, creating really super smooth action knives on knives that are not even on ceramic ball bearings. I mean, that is just ridiculous. I mean, I'll show you another knife, but the same exact action. Look at that. It's crazy. Insane. Anyway, back to the customer service side. It's kind of hard to talk about, because you really have to open yourself up to the knife maker. You need to talk to them. You have to build a relationship with them. You want to approach them in a nice way. You don't want to go to the knife maker and go, "What's up with this? My knife sucks. Fix it." You want to have a conversation with the knife maker, explain to him, you know, "Hey, JD, you know, I mean, I got my knife and I'm really loving it. It's just not centered correctly." If you talk to them like a person and don't attack them, you know, you'd be very, very surprised how they would react. Because every time I've approached any South African knife maker, whether it's Andre Thorburn, whether it's Erucus Blumeris, whether it's Deshorn, JD Van Deventer, Trevor Berger, any of them, any one of them, you just start a conversation with them, explain to them what's going on with your knife. They will come up with a plan to service your knife. You know, they will do either one of two things. They will either go through a distributor, usually like the Blade Gallery. If you guys are familiar with the Blade Gallery online, a lot of the South African knife makers have a really great relationship with the Blade Gallery. So they will usually ask you to take your knife and ship it to the Blade Gallery, and then the Blade Gallery will ship it to the knife maker. by using the Blade Gallery to ship your knife over there, because the Blade Gallery has a relationship with JD Van Deventer, with Andre Thorburn, with Trevor Berger, with Des Horn, with Andre Van Heerden, with any of the South African knife makers, there's sort of like a guarantee of travel. In other words, that nothing will happen to your knife. You know, they're going to guarantee that the knife will get shipped there, fixed, and it will come back. Only because, and that's the safest route to go, only because sometimes the shipping system in South Africa is not as safe as it is here in the United States. The packages get stolen, they get lost in South Africa sometimes. So a lot of the knife makers have to go to a distributor, sort of like a go-between distributor between the customer, themselves, you know, between themselves and the customer. They need like an in-between guy. They need a liaison. And the Blade Gallery is the perfect liaison, because they seriously build a business relationship with the knife makers. They care about the knife makers. They care about the knives they make. They care about the quality of the knives that they make. They care about how their business is doing. So that really strong relationship between between the liaison, I'm going to call it the liaison, the knife maker and the customer, is very, very important. But that doesn't mean that the relationship without like that liaison can't exist between you and the knife maker. It can, because it has in my case quite a couple of times, actually. In fact, I'll explain really quickly. The case with both these knives, like I said, this knife had blade play, and this knife, the centering was way off, to the point that it was making me unhappy. So I had decided to send the knife to, I was going to send the knife to the Blade Gallery, but I had a problem. The Blade Gallery closed up their shop for now, and they are reopening in their new shop in Seattle starting on October 1. But in between that time, the Blade Gallery still has to do business with all these knife makers. So that's where the relationship of the liaison will become even more important as far as customer service goes. Because you're in a situation like mine where I got two knives that aren't operating correctly. I need to ship the knife off, but sometimes the knife maker is not confident that they may or may not get the knife. For regular shipping needs, so they want to use the Blade Gallery to make sure your knife gets there safely so they can fix it and work on it. Now, keep in mind, when they are working on your knives, they're also working on their future orders of other customers, so you really need to be patient. At the same time, I can honestly tell you that even though you're going to wait, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, whatever it is, whatever that time that you have to wait, is going to be, it's worth it. I mean, look at this. If you look at the other video, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but if you look at the video I did on this knife, and it's down on my channel way back, you'll see that I didn't bother to show you the centering on it because it was all the way over. It was horrible. I was not really in the mood to do the video, but I was kind of excited to show my knives. But it was kind of stupid because I was showing you guys knives that I wasn't happy with. Same with the Palladium. That one, this one had like considerable blade play. I tried fixing it myself. I couldn't do it. So again, back to my story. I eventually wound up contacting JD Van Deventer. And at the time, when I contacted him to ship my knives over, this was like, I don't know, like a while, like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the shipping of the knives were delayed, so they wound up staying with me for quite a while. Finally, when I got to shipping them, when I got to contacting JD to ship the knife back to South Africa so we can work on it, it was at that time that the Blade Gallery already closed their shop, but I had already sent my knife to the Blade Gallery. Okay, so I sent my knife to the Blade Gallery, and I waited and waited and waited, and didn't hear any word. Finally, my knives did get to JD Van Deventer, and as soon as they got there, I was fine. And then I had to wait another, I guess it was like another 8 or 9 weeks before you could actually start working on the knives. And this is probably the downfall, is that you have to wait sometimes, because you have to understand you're working on the knife maker's schedule. If you can handle that, then you'll be fine, and keep contacting them too, because the wait time is going to be long. So don't be afraid to contact the knife maker and say, hey, it's been a while since I've heard from you. What's going on with my knife? You're going to want to do it in a nice way. You're going to want to approach them like a human being. These people are very busy fixing other knives, but at the same time, they also understand that you are their customer, and that even though they're not like really committed to you to fix the knife, that's up to the individual knife maker. Some knife makers only go so far to service their knife. Other knife makers will go over the top to service you. And really, how much service you're going to get, I have noticed, really depends on your approach to the knife maker, your relationship with that knife maker. How are you with that knife maker? Is it good? I mean, do you chat to him? Do you chat with him with more than like knives? Do you care about how he's doing? Do you care about his business? I mean, do you care if he's making any money? Those kinds of things. That's going to open up the floodgates and make the relationship stronger, so that you will get your knife back in fantastic condition. And it's going to be an amazing experience overall. And it has been for me. This is not the only time that I've had to have my knife serviced. I've had to have my knife serviced through Andre Thorburn. He was awesome. I've had JD Van Deventer, obviously. Erucus Blumeris is awesome customer service. He actually took the time to FaceTime me so I can show him what was wrong with my knife, and he can get an idea. And then he would, he looked at it. And he saw what was wrong with my knife, and he goes, just ship it, man. I will take care of it. Don't worry about it. I will definitely take care of it and make it beautiful the way you want it. I mean, Rucus Blumeris is like, oh my God, he's like an amazing human being. Des Horn, he's another one. You send a knife, you're unhappy with this knife, he's unhappy that you're unhappy. He wants to make sure that you love what you bought from him. It's all about the pride that South African knife makers have when they make their knives. Because keep in mind, a lot of these knives are made completely by hand. So their soul is on this thing. Does that sound silly? Their soul, their heart, everything is on this knife. And if it's not functioning properly, they're going to want to know about it. They're going to want to know. I mean, and don't be afraid to tell them, look, I dropped the knife. I broke the knife. It's my fault that it happened. I've done that a couple of times. The South African knife makers have never given me a problem with that. They've never said to me, Omar, it's your fault. You broke the knife. I'm so sorry. I can't service you. That's never happened to me once with any South African knife maker. Any so far. I can honestly tell you that. Like I said, it's just by luck that I happen to pick a region of the country where knife making is a staple. So much so that these guys are probably the proudest at what they do. I mean, I really believe that. They're the proudest at what they do. Obviously, I can't speak for the Russians. I can't speak for the Japanese. I cannot speak for the Chinese, because I don't own any of their knives. All my knives are all South African. And it is because of my positive experience with South African knife makers that's really all I want to collect. It makes my collection sort of concise, and it's I don't know how to explain this. There's a connection between me and, I guess, the art form of knife making that South Africa produces. I think that's the best way I could put it. Because not only is their use of materials absolutely the most creative that I've ever seen, and we're not even talking about, like, the more exotic materials. When you get into other South African knife makers, you may want to take a look at a knife maker like Fons Prinsloo and George Muller. Those are sort of like the exotic, artsy type of knife makers that I have yet to really discover. I mean, but they're able to take materials like shark teeth and whalebone and, like, you know, warthog, whatever you want to call it, and turn it into this. I mean, because these two knives here are not made with exotic materials, but they are still no less an art as far as I'm concerned. So this is Omar, the Knife Shark guy. Just giving you a quick run on South African customer service. So the answer to the question, does customer service exist in South Africa with South African knives? The answer is yes. Just to sum up this video, treat the knife maker with respect. Okay, care about what's going on with them. I mean, you know, they're human beings. They love to chat. They love to talk it up. My experience with just chatting with them, not even talking about knives, can be fun. I respect them as artists, and I respect them as human beings. I seriously believe that if you want to go the route of customs and you want to get into South African knife customs, that's the best advice I can give you. Because if you start off on the right foot, your experience is going to be spectacular. So, you know, if you buy a knife from South Africa and there's something wrong with it, don't let your emotions get away from you. You know, take a deep breath, breathe, and then try and contact the knife maker. Get on their good side. Just talk with them. Tell them, look, my knife, I bought this knife, you know, a couple of days ago. It's not up to snuff. You know, you want to say it in a better way, but just explain to them, you know, the knife's got a little bit of blade play on it. It's kind of, you know, bothering me. And, you know, as soon as you start being sympathetic to them and opening up yourself to them, they're going to understand quicker than if you were to yell at them and go, hey, what's going on with this piece of shit? You know, it's just all in the way you approach the people. It will definitely depend on how great of a customer service you're going to get. That's all I can tell you. And I have tried to be as... And I try not to... And you don't want to fake it either, because they can tell. They can tell if you're faking it. These guys just have way too much... You know, again, they have way too much pride in themselves to even deal with that nonsense. So you want to be careful. Just be yourself. Explain to them, look, my knife doesn't work as well as it should. I'm not that happy with it. It's got blade play on it. You know, whatever the problem might be with the piece, just let them know. Just let them know in a kind and respectful manner, and they will respond to you. No matter how busy they are, no matter, you know, if they've got like 15,000 back order of, you know, knives that they have to produce within this certain amount of time. And that's the thing, you have to want to understand that's what's probably going on with them. You want to be ahead of the curve and try and understand that that's what's going on with them. They're under a lot of pressure to make the knives, but they will service you. You are a customer. You are no less important than the guy that's currently waiting to get his brand new knife made, sent, and shipped off to him. So, I mean, I don't know if this video was any help to you, or maybe I'm just blabbing on. I'm just trying to give you my experience on customer service. So the 3 things I want you guys to walk away with on this video is, number 1, approach the knife maker as a human being. Tell them kindly why you're unhappy with the knife. Explain to them that, you know, and the problem may have even been your fault. Just let them know. And then finally, just ask them, is there anything you can do for my knife? What do what would be the plan? Once you get past to asking them and telling them what's wrong with your knife, they will generate a plan to get the knife from where you live to where they live, and they will service your knife. They will give you an ETA as to when they will let you know when it's completed. And please work with the knife makers and tell them, look, Because sometimes a knife maker will say, you know what, I'm so sorry, I didn't get to your knife, I was backed up with, other orders. Understand that that's going to happen as long as you stay in touch with them, and that, you'll wind up feeling confident that they're going to work on your knife. You're going to walk away, with the understanding that you will get your knife back in stellar condition, and that's exactly what happened to me on both of these. I mean, I wish I had done a before video to show you guys how bad the blade play was on this knife, and now this son of a bitch is as solid as a rock. I mean, it's way more than I had expected. This one, the centering made me cry. I mean, it was all the way on that side. I mean, I was just in pain, knowing that it was all the way over to the right of the knife. I mean, it was really horrible. When I did the video, I was kind of like angling it so you guys couldn't see that it was off centered. And I think I only flipped it once in the original video because it wasn't falling shut like this. You know what I mean? I mean, this is ridiculous. Yeah, there was a little stoppage in there, so I was kind of like sheepishly. I'm sorry I did that to you guys, but like I said, I will redo the videos for both of these, and we'll do specs and everything. I will probably definitely do that video probably tomorrow, just to set things right. I want you guys to forget that other video that I did. So anyway, this is Omar, the Knife Shark Guy, just giving you a little discussion on customer service. I'm sorry the video ran long, but I did this completely unscripted, so I do apologize. If you got anything out of this video, I hope it helps. I hope I've turned some new people on to South African knives, because those guys are just absolute artists. Absolute artists, absolute perfectionists in what they do. And a lot of them are funny people. I mean, they're just great people to know. Even if I didn't know they were knife makers, or even if I wasn't into this hobby, I probably would have enjoyed just chatting it up with JD Van Deventer, even if I didn't like knives, or any of the other knife makers that I've got. I'm gonna say I've got a relationship with them now. I mean, not that I'd actually be able to go over to their house or anything, or they'll fly me over for, a vacation day, but I do have, I do have at least a good business / type friendship with those knife makers that I've mentioned. They're just really sweet people. So this is Omar, the Knife Shark Guy, signing off with my JD Van Deventer fluted carbon fiber palladium flipper, and my orange and black, I call it the Godfather knife, cruise flipper. Signing off, hoping you'll find this knife maker in your collection someday. If you're getting, if you're looking for something new, this gentleman will not disappoint you. He will not disappoint you. Thank you so much for watching, and you guys have a good evening. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much, and have a great evening.